What's up guys, BltzZ here today bringing you another video. In today's video we got some interesting Final Fantasy VII news regarding the compilation as a whole. Square Enix back in December 17th filed trademarks for the titles Ever Crisis, The First Soldier, and the Shinra Electric Power Company's logo. All three of these obviously pertain to the world of Final Fantasy VII, with Ever Crisis following the Final Fantasy VII prequels Before Crisis and Crisis Core. The First Soldier relating to the military group Soldier in Final Fantasy VII, and of course the Shinra Power Company's logo, which may be used for merchandising in the future. Guys, we will be talking about massive spoilers for the entire story of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake. So click away and protect your cheeks from the ultimate clapping. With all that being said, let's get into this video. Final Fantasy VII Remake's ending shocked the veteran fans and new fans in so many ways. They showed us that with defeating the Harbinger who controls the Whispers, it caused a sort of ripple effect through many different timelines of Final Fantasy VII. The Whispers got in the way of even Sephiroth himself trying to make changes in the world, as evidenced in this scene with him trying to kill Barret. Now, with them gone, the story of Final Fantasy VII Remake could head into interesting newer directions. One of the big changes we saw was that in an alternate universe, Zack survives his encounter with Shinra. Jumping back a bit into the prequel game Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core released on PSP, we control Zack, who is a member of Soldier working his way up to first class, aspiring to do great things. Eventually, he gets to first class and works alongside of Sephiroth. Both he and Sephiroth, along with Shinra infantry member Cloud, go back to Cloud's hometown to investigate a reactor in the Nibelheim Mountains. Pretty sure you guys already know the story. It's here where the ending of Crisis Core takes place, from Sephiroth losing his shit and burning the entire town down, to Zack and Cloud being captured and experimented on in the Shinra mansion for 5 years. Cloud and Zack escape from the mansion at the end of Crisis Core, and then Zack, while protecting Cloud, fights off waves of Shinra infantrymen and ultimately loses this battle. But in Remake, we see that since the Whispers are gone, Zack in another universe actually survived his encounter with Shinra. In my opinion, this is a completely different universe than what's going on in Remake's timeline. I say this because they take the time to show us that the stamped dog on the chip bag that Shinra uses is completely different from what the stamped dog that we've seen throughout the game is. The developers have also said in many interviews that we've covered on this channel to please pay attention to that information of a different stamped dog, as it's very important. Going even a little bit further, this moment takes place about 2 or 3 weeks before the gang, Cloud, Barret, Tifa, Aerith, and Red 13 escape from Midgar. The gang also escapes from Midgar at night, and the fight with the Whispers happens at night as well. In Zack's timeline here, it's the middle of the day when we are first shown him, and then after he defeats the Shinra members, it's still daytime by him. Another key fact here, when Cloud and the gang defeat the Harbingers and Whispers, it is nighttime as well. Yet that explosion expelling the Whispers from Midgar happens for Zack in the daytime. These two events are supposed to be taking place weeks apart, approximately 2 to 3. And of course at different times of the day. So note to those guys writing in the comments below, this means that there are 2 Clouds in this universe now, or that there are 2 Buster Swords, or Zack is running around helping out Avalanche in the background. That is not what's going on over here. What we have is possibly, from what I've been saying since April 2020, that Zack surviving here does not mean he will be showing up in Remake's storyline, but that Zack surviving here would be able to give us a Crisis Core sequel. With all the prequel Final Fantasy VII games having the word Crisis in their titles, this leads me to believe that Ever Crisis, the name that Square Enix trademarked, could be that Crisis Core sequel taking place in an alternate universe thanks to the events that occurred in Remake. Where Zack and Cloud both make it to Midgar, they meet up with Tifa, and the story plays out differently from the original game. Of course, this could also be a book or animated series or even a movie instead, but this is what I think will be happening with the newly trademarked title Ever Crisis. It's also no secret to Square that the world of Final Fantasy VII has been their most popular, well-loved, and profitable series. Remember a few interviews ago that I covered, the developers have actively spoken about adding onto the compilation that is Final Fantasy VII. We can see the beginning phases of that taking place after Remake. I mean, with Ever Crisis possibly being a movie, book, or fingers crossed, a video game. In that interview, the interviewer asked Kitase, when did the Final Fantasy VII Remake project start? Kitase said, actually this project has been in existence for a very long time. And then Nomura chimes in and says, when we developed the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, the installments included Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, and Dirge of Cerberus. So we knew that we wanted to make a 5th installment. However, we were a bit short on resources as I was the only one heading that project. And since we were busy with other things, the project was put on hold. It's 100% clear to me now that Final Fantasy VII Remake being a sequel is the start of a second phase of Final Fantasy VII's compilation. Originally, we had Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus. The developers wanted to make a 5th installment, and Final Fantasy VII Remake allows them to now do that, with the next title possibly being Ever Crisis. This also shows that Square is doing a trend with these titles. I mean, Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, and now Ever Crisis make up AC, BC, CC, DC, and EC, which is pretty wild. So you could expect an FC maybe with Final Crisis in the future. I don't know, I'm calling it here. That's what I'm thinking is gonna happen. And guys, that's not even the craziest of news. Some pretty mind-blowing stuff was also revealed recently, and that's that only 19% of you guys that watch these videos and enjoy them every day are currently subscribed. Guys, the PS5 giveaway starts this week. Don't miss out on that one, and click the link pinned in the comments below right now to join in on the PlayStation 5 giveaway. The recent t-shirt and video game giveaway has just finished, and the winner was announced last night during our live stream. So shout outs to Jim Milou. I will be in contact with you about the shirt size and of course what video game it is that you want. Guys, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more of these giveaways. The PlayStation 5 giveaway starts this week, and I'm super excited to get that going with you all. Thank you, everyone. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers, and this journey has been an amazing one, and I look forward to breaking our limits and hitting that 100,000 subscriber goal this year. Subscribe today, and I promise you 2021 will be an even bigger year for all of us. And now about the First Soldier trademark. This one is a big one, and we can only assume about it in so many different ways. This to me could be the origin story or backstory of Sephiroth that we don't know entirely. We know about Sephiroth after he became a soldier, and well into his career past that, he ended the Wutai War, was incredibly moody, had other soldier friends with Angeal and Genesis from Crisis Core, but is it ever stated that he was the very first soldier? In Final Fantasy VII Ultimania Omega, they suggest that Sephiroth was the first to be a soldier, but there is evidence that soldier was already in place before Sephiroth's birth. But this could also be how Sephiroth set the standards for first class within soldier instead, which changed up the way the military soldier functioned entirely. Think about it, guys. A game where we get more backstory about Sephiroth and see him in a different light than what we already know him for, with being a crazy bad guy with an 8-foot poker, likes to stab flower girls, and burn down hometowns. Imagine playing as Sephiroth from his birth all the way up to where he loses his shit in Nibelheim. It has that classic potential of the good guy turning into a villain slowly story trope that we all love. From Star Wars with Anakin Skywalker, Breaking Bad with Walter White, from Metal Gear Solid's Naked Snake to Big Boss, a Sephiroth origin story game I think would be something insane for the gaming industry to witness as a whole, especially if it's done correctly. And who knows, guys, maybe Sephiroth being announced and put into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was early promotion for his own solo game. I mean, this all could be very deep and come together to connect the dots, right? But as we said before, these could either be books, a short series, or even a movie instead of a video game. If you ask me, I think the Sephiroth story titled The First Soldier has a chance to not be a video game. Whereas Ever Crisis might be a game, just like how Crisis Core and Before Crisis both are. If Ever Crisis does turn out to be a Crisis Core sequel, what parts of Final Fantasy VII story do you think it would contain? Will Zack and Aerith finally shut up the Clarith shippers? I'm joking, guys, come on, I'm joking, okay? But no, seriously, it could prove to be an amazing retelling of the beginning portion story elements for Final Fantasy VII. Think about Cloud and Zack both teaming up with Avalanche. They'd be way too overpowered. I wonder what kind of weapon Cloud would even use if that were the case then. Is there a second Buster Sword that he would have made? And now, in regards to the logo of Shinra being trademarked, this could mean that Square intends to make merchandise with the logo of Shinra on it for sale, maybe toys or clothing, that sort of deal. That logo would also appear a whole lot in the First Soldier game, book, or media. The world of Final Fantasy VII has so many opportunities for backstory. These characters are loved by all except Cait Sith, and the story has been praised by many for years and years. With Remake being such a big success and nominated for Game of the Year last year, it just even strengthens the series FF7 as a whole. I mean, Square could even release no new titled Final Fantasy game for 10 straight years and just focus on Final Fantasy VII content, and new fans as well as old fans will flock immediately. I know I'm there. These next few years are about to be insane and something special. I truly cannot wait to see where this all leads us. And that wraps it up for this video, guys. Shoutouts to Pat Strife and our Discord for sharing this information with me. I really appreciate you guys, and this is what I mean by us being the best community on YouTube, hands down. No other channel has this connection we all have, and I think that we together can change the platform as a whole while making positive impacts on every single person along the way. Make sure you guys join the PlayStation 5 giveaway that is currently live. The link is in the comments below and pinned to the top. We are locked in for a very busy year, guys, and I'm looking forward to getting hyped with you all for every second of it. And shout outs to everyone who joined recently for the previous giveaway. I promise you guys that every month we will be trying to do a giveaway to give back to you guys for all the support that you guys have been giving us on this channel. So stay tuned for all that. Don't miss out on it. What do you guys think will be happening with these new trademarks filed by Square Enix? I think a Sephiroth solo story game would be absolutely amazing to play, but I could totally see this also being a book or animated film of some sort instead, unfortunately. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you are new. More Final Fantasy VII Remake videos are coming your way, and you won't want to miss them. My name is BltzZ, and thanks for watching.